I've been ready.
I call this meeting of the Craven County Board of Education to order. Are there any amendments to the board's agenda?
Ms. Boomer, we have an amendment that came in a little bit late this week, an honorary diploma for a student at Early College East High School. And that would be, if the board approves, it would be item J2 under academic services before the consent agenda.
So I need to get a motion to add the early college, the honorary diploma to the agenda.
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and second that the early college honorary diploma will be added to the agenda. And at this time, I would like to get a motion to adopt the agenda as with the necessary correction.
Mrs. Boomer,
Yes.
I believe you have me down for a couple of minutes under your report, under the chair's report.
Yes. Yes, thank you for reminding me.
Thank you.
Is it already in here?
No, you have to put it in.
Okay.
So where would that go?
I can add that as item N, I believe
The
it's,
chairman report.
it would be N2 at that time.
Okay. So we have two amendments to the agenda. I need to get a motion.
Make a motion, we approve the agenda with the amendments for J2 and N2.
I
All right.
second.
Thank you. It had been moved and second that the amendments J2 and N2 will be added to the agenda. I need to get a motion that the agenda will be approved with those. So we have just
Yeah,
did.
that was the motion.
Okay, so we good.
Yes, well, we just got to vote on it.
The motion has been, we need to vote on. You've heard the question. You want ready for the question? All those in favor of accepting the agenda with the necessary correction with N2 and J2, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, let it be known but same. All right, agenda is approved. Okay. And at this time, we would like to ask, do we have a roll call? I skipped something. Dr. Doyle, will you give us a roll call, please?
Yes, Chairman. Good evening, Chairman, Vice Chair, members of the board. Ms. Frances Boomer,
Here?
Ms. Naomi Clark,
Here.
Mr. Victor Dove, Mr. Carol Ipock,
Here.
Ms. Stephanie King,
Here.
Ms. Kelly Muse,
Here.
Ms. Kimberly Smith.
Here.
Chairman, we have 7 members present, none absent. We have a quorum.
Okay, thank you. And at this time, we will review the Craven County's vision, the mission, and the core values. And we envision a public education system that challenges all students as learners and prepares them to imagine and create a successful life. Values educators and empower them to inspire and spark innovation in every student, leads in education and community engagement, and invites all students, their families, and all members of the community to work together to support public education to the benefit of our students, our community, our nation, and our world. Our mission statement is, together with our families and community, Craven County Schools would educate all learners to personal, professional, and civic success through challenging and personalized instruction. For our core values, we have a visionary leadership, student-centered excellence, organization, learning, and agility, valuing people, focus on success, managing for innovation, management by fact, societal responsibility, delivering value and results, ethics, and transparency. And at this time, I call on Vice Chairman Kimberly Smith to review the ground rules, the bidding process, and the safety procedures in the event of an emergency with the attendees of the Board of Education meeting.
Thank you, Chairman Boomer. Our meeting ground rules are to post and approve the agenda, listen as an ally, one person speaks at a time, respect each other, no sidebars, everyone participates, stay on task, start and stop on time, schedule appropriate breaks, evaluate at the end of each meeting. If everyone can make sure your cell phones and electronic devices are on vibrate or on silent, and remind all board members that if we, just as a courtesy reminder, so our lawyer doesn't have to tell us later, if we answer a text, if we answer a cell, if we answer anything that we have on our electronic devices that we open during meetings becomes, public record if somebody were to ask for it. So safest thing to do is just cut it off. Okay. Ben item, if you have an off-task thought, put it on a little sticky around the front here, front of your desk for Mr. Ipock and Ms. Muse, and we'll make sure that Chairman Boomer covers it before the meeting is done. Safety procedures, if we split the room in half between Mr. Silvera and Attorney Gatchell, to the right, we would, in case of a tornado, we would go into the interior hallway. To the left, the same, into the interior hallway, get down, we cover our heads. For fire, we split the room the same way, but instead the right would enter out into the parking lot and the left would enter into the parking lot of the furniture store next door. If we were to have an intruder that was not in the building, and not in this room, we would lock and secure the doors, alert the building and call for help. I'm gonna wait for the all clear. If the intruder were to be in the room with us, we would still alert the building, inform the people that we needed to inform, safety and security, and then we would do everything we could to take care of each other in the room.
Okay, thank you. And at this time, we would like to recognize all our elected officials, dignitaries, and leaders present participating in the meeting electronically. With all our elected officials, we'd like to also recognize the Craven County Principal of the Year, Dr. Eleanor Patrick, Principal of Oaks Road Academy. Craven County School Teacher of the Year, Gail Hardy, teacher at New Bern High School. And we would like to recognize our military liaison, Mrs. Leefa Palmer, and Craven County Schools Military Liaison Counselor, Mrs. Valerie Nasser. And again, we would like to thank them for the presentation that they made for us on Tuesday, and also the beautiful plants that they gave each one of our board members. We really appreciate that. And we would like to recognize Partners in Education Executive Director, Ms. Darlene Brown, and recognize all our principals and staff. And at this time, we would ask our attorney, for our board attorney, Mr. Brian Gatchell, if he would lead us for the invocation for this meeting.
Board members, if you'll please pray with me. Our God, we pray you would come alongside us on this day to have the privilege to be in your presence. We give our lives a sense of fulfillment, our efforts, purpose, and our direction, certainty. As we travel together, be our eyes that we would see the magnificence of your design, our ears that we would hear the symphony you have composed. That in what we touch, we feel your embrace, and that we would taste the sustenance that you have provided for our journey. With you beside us, we have the faith to give over to you, keeping all of our desires, plans, and thoughts. That we would yield our whole selves to you, trusting in your direction. Wherever you lead us, today and in the days to come, may we readily follow. And when we cannot know what lies ahead, increase our faith. May we have confidence that you have prepared for all of us all that we could ever hope for. In you is the assurance that the way will be made clear. We pray in the abiding love of your holy name. Amen.
Amen.
And at this time, we will ask our administrative assistant to the superintendent, Ms. Myra Flowers, to lead us with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen.
At this time, we would like to recognize our students who will present our character word of the month, which is fairness. We would like to recognize Zoe Moore, Caleb Hanronquez, Raymond Cox, Mia Elliott, Gabrielle Pigeon from Brunson Memorial Elementary School. And they will do our character word for the month of April.
And measurement and decision making. Here's an example of management by fact.
So class, looking at our last vocabulary test, on question 1, 97% of us got it correct. On question 2, 25% of you guys got it correct. On question 3, 98% of you guys got it correct. Which question did you all struggle the most on? Zoe?
Question 2.
Okay. So after reviewing the data, I see that you all struggled with question 2 the most. Based on the information, I am going to reteach concepts covered in question 2.
This teacher used management by fact by looking at the data the students took on the quiz by making a decision on the data about what to reteach. Now check out this student as he uses management by fact in his daily life.
Raymond, wake up.
Can I get 5 more minutes?
Okay, Raymond, it's been 5 minutes.
Okay.
Come on, Raymond, what are you doing? Let's play.
It's too cold outside today.
I check the weather every morning so that I know what to wear.
Oh, I should try that sometime.
Okay, Raymond, wake up.
Okay. I wonder what the weather's like today. It said it's going to be cold, so I guess I should dress pretty warm.
Hey, Raymond, I see you're playing today.
Yeah, I dressed it correctly because I checked the weather and I'm having lots of fun.
This month's character education word is fairness. Fairness means ensuring everyone gets what they need to be successful, leveling the playing field. Fairness does not always mean equal. Today, class, we're going to play a game. Make it into the bucket. Whoever can make their ball into the bucket gets to choose from the treasure chest.
Yay!
Oh, man.
Yay!
What are you guys doing in here? We're playing a game. What type of game? Make it into the bucket. What happens when they make it into the bucket? They get to choose from the treasure chest. Well, do you really think that's fair? Because they are all at different spots in the classroom and they have different size balls. I didn't think about that. What do you think I could do to make it more fair? Maybe you can give them all the same size balls and then have them line up evenly and take turns trying to get into the bucket. Good idea. Do you want to play? Sure.
Oh, man.
Your turn.
Yay! It's okay, maybe next time. Good job, everybody. Come get your prize.
Once again, we would like to thank Zoe, Caleb, Raymond, Mia, and Gabrielle for such a wonderful demonstration of the word of the month, fairness, and also management by fact, our core value. They did an excellent job, and would like to thank the teachers and the administrators of that school who I'm sure worked along with them, but especially for their creativity. And at this time, we're going to ask Vice Chairman Kimberly Smith to
Question 2.
for the April 2021 Board of Education meeting.
Thank you, Chairman Boomer. Our first recognition is under staff recognitions, and I'll call on Board Member Kelly Muse to recognize the district's academically and intellectually gifted program.
Thank you, Vice Chair. The North Carolina Department of Public Instruction's Division of Advanced Learning and Gifted Education is pleased to highlight our district's AIG program as a promising practice for North Carolina's Call to Action for Equity, Excellence Strategic Initiative. Our district is highlighted in the Call to Action Guidebook and on the NCDPI Coordinator's website. This resource was shared at the State Board of Education on March 4th, 2021 as part of its Strategic Planning Committee report. By realizing equity and excellence in gifted education, schools will help all students reach their full potential. To lead districts during this initiative, NCDPI identified 6 critical actions for realizing equity and excellence in gifted education and collaborated with researchers for the evidence to support them. Over the last 2 years, NCDPI has worked with our school district's AIG coordinator, Ms. Wanda Tompkins, on this strategic initiative with the goal of creating and implementing a more responsive local AIG plan for the 2022 to 2025 school year. In this call to action, Guidebook 8, promising practices from districts across the state have been highlighted for each of the critical actions with representation from one district per region in North Carolina. DPI is pleased that our district is already making steps towards realizing equity and excellence in gifted education. Our district has been highlighted for the following promising practices. Utilizes trend data to inform identification processes at schools with disproportionately issues by developing an identification pathway which involves school-based norms in its schools where fewer than 10% of grade level population is identified as AIT. Conducting quarterly checks with EL teachers to recognize students who are acquiring language quickly or exiting from surfaces at a rapid pace. And responded to data by designing a STEM-focused talent development program for students already identified as intellectually gifted, primarily underrepresented students with outstanding problem-solving skills and visual spatial reasoning abilities. This program resulted in 30% of these students meeting criteria for identification in academic areas as well. At the AIG Winter and Spring Institute, some local AIG coordinators have shared and others will be sharing the background benefits and challenges for each of the highlighted promising practices with their colleagues across the state. By seeing our promising practice in action, other districts will follow our lead in developing and implementing practices that will broaden access opportunities, allowing them to better realize equity and excellence in gifted education. NCDPI looks forward to our school district's further work in these areas. Tonight, the Board of Education applauds Wanda Tompkins, AIG lead coordinator, and her team of educators, Beth Germain, Krista Purvaith, Jenny Magnum, David Rackley, and Ellie Smith for ensuring our students are challenged and lifelong learners. We recommend your support and focus of this initiative.
Thank you. And now I'll call on Board Member Carr Ipock to recognize the recipients for the 2021 Governor's School.
This is always an exciting time of the year when we talk about the North Carolina Governor's School and those students that will be recognized. The Governor's School of North Carolina is a 5.5-week summer residential program and is the oldest statewide summer residential program for academically or intellectually gifted high school students in the nation. The program integrates academic disciplines, the arts, the unique courses occur on 2 campuses. The curriculum focuses on the exploration of the most recent ideas and concepts in each discipline. The program, which is open to rising seniors, with exceptions made for rising juniors in selected performing visual arts areas, is located on 2 campuses serving up to 325 students each. Governor's School West is at High Point University in High Point, and Governor's School East is at Meredith College in Raleigh. The program is administered by the Public Schools of North Carolina, the State Board of Education, and the Department of Public Instruction through the Exceptional Children's Division. A Board of Governors appointed by the State Board of Education acts as an advisory board. This year, we have 6 students representing each of our high schools who were selected to participate in the Governor's School of North Carolina this summer. Do we have any of the students here? The students are Ashley Destin, Craven Early College High School for Social Science. John Childs, Early College East High School for English. Melanie Caldwell, Havelock High School for Natural Science. Kaylin Swainer, Havelock High School for Natural Science. Emma Longenecker, Newbern High School for Choral Music. And Kason Walker, West Craven High School for Theater. We have the students featured here. The Board of Education is extremely proud of this group of elite students representing Craven County Schools this summer at Governor's School.
Thank you, Mr. Ipod. At this time, I'm going to read into the record a resolution of the Craven County Schools Board of Education recognizing April 2021, let me change my mic, as the month of the military child. Whereas during the month of April, Craven County Schools is proud to recognize the children of the brave men and women of the United States Armed Forces for their support of their parents and caregivers and for their sacrifice as members of military families. And whereas more than 65,000 children of military families attend school in North Carolina, along with over 250,000 children of veterans. And whereas these children learn early on the sacrifice, commitment, and honor that it takes to protect our nation's freedoms and are witnesses to their parents' integrity and dedication as they answer the call to duty. And whereas these children are a source of pride and honor to us all, and it is only fitting that we take time to recognize their contributions, celebrate their spirit, and let our men and women in uniform know that while they're taking care of us, we're taking care of their children. And whereas the recognition of a month of the military child allows us to pay tribute to all military children for their commitment, their struggles, and their unconditional support of our troops, because when parents serve in the military, their kids are heroes too. And whereas this month-long salute to military children encourages local community to support our military children and families, now therefore let it be resolved by the Craven County Board of Education that we recognize April 2021 as the month of the military child and collectively urge all of our citizens, businesses, and government leaders to honor, support, and thank our military children. And with that, Chairman Bimmer, we'll need a motion and second to move that to adopt the resolution.
Right?
I move that we place the resolution into the record.
It has been, I'm gonna get a second.
Second.
It has been moved and second that the resolution recognizing the month of April as the month of the military child. You have heard the question. Are you ready for the question? All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same. All right, resolution passes. Thank you. I think that is very good that we do this.
I think so too.
Thank you. And it's time to take a break.
Nope.
Oh, you got someone else?
Nope, we're not finished.
Oh, okay.
We're not finished. I'm going to call on Board Member Stephanie King to recognize the recipients of Young Authors.
Okay.
Thank you, Vice Chair. The North Carolina Reading Association gives students and adults across this great state the opportunity to participate in the writing process. Twin Rivers Reading Council has provided this event for the last 6 years. The president of the North Carolina Reading Association is given the honor of creating a topic that will be inclusive of all and at the same time provide opportunities for everyone to write about their own experiences. This year, Denise Owens, president of North Carolina Reading Association, chose the topic, Let Your Light Shine. This gave students the opportunity to write about how they have spread joy and kindness to others or found the positive during a challenging time. The NCRA also held its 4th annual cover design contest. Students were encouraged to submit an original design for the cover of the state-winning Entries publication. This year, Craven County Schools is thrilled to honor 12 students for their writing and 1 student for their artwork. We are also honored to recognize our four Forever Young Adult winners. The winners will be honored at a local celebration in May. The state winners will be receiving a medal and a book with their published writing. Congratulations to the following 2020-2021 State Young Authors winners and our Forever Young Authors staff submissions. And if I mispronounce your name, charge it to my head and not my heart, okay? We have Hunter Bayless from A.W. Edwards Elementary School as artist. Kara Walters from Oaks Road Academy. Ellen Emmerich from A.H. Bangert Elementary. Ansley Giles, and I think there'll be a picture up here, shown up here. A.H. Bangert Elementary. Ashley Kate Hunnings from A.H. Bangert. Anna Reese Dickerson from A.H. Bangert. We have Bailey Donlin, from A.H. Bangert. Malin Hacker from Bridgeton Elementary. Brooke Albright from Bridgeton Elementary. Kelly Bamford from Havelock Elementary, Forever Young. Oh, where am I? Oh, Misty Persilver, Havelock Elementary, Forever Young. Kaylee Styron, W.J. Greganis Elementary, Forever Young. Chloe Schreckengoss from Tucker Creek Middle School. Rebecca Laura for Tucker Creek Middle School. Taylon Turner, West Craven Middle. Christian Stiles from New Bern High. And we also have Miss Betsy Gatchell from Central Services, Forever Young. Let's give all of our winners a hand clap.
Thank you, Ms. King. And now I'll call on board member Ms. Naomi Clark, who will recognize the 2021 Remote Learning Teacher of the Year.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. This year, the Southeast Alliance created a recognition to honor 1 teacher in each district for their work with students in the remote learning environment during the 2020-21 school year. The recognition is new this year as schools, students, staff, and parents were all deeply involved in transforming learning processes. The criteria included overall remote learning experience provided, skills and certifications, including those specific to digital and blended learning, professional development and activities as both a learner and a teacher leader, lesson plans designed to deliver instruction in the remote environment, student and parent engagement strategies, and assessment and feedback practices. Craven County Schools 2020-2021 Remote Learning Teacher of the Year is Miss Ashley Alisea from W.J. Gerganis Elementary School. Ms. Alisea has taught at W.J. Gerganis Elementary School since 2006 and is one of our designated Craven Live teachers this year. In describing her philosophy, Ms. Alisea said, "The processes and systems may come and go, but my why remains the same. Through the formation of independent learners and thinkers, I have always strived to inspire creative thinking and problem solving in my students. Whether remote or in person, the goal is the same. A lifelong learner myself, I've always been at the forefront of technology integration. Granted, the process became increasingly more difficult as we transitioned to remote learning, but like any difficult situation, my students and I have persevered together. We have discovered what worked and what could be improved together. At the end of the day, teaching isn't just a job, it's a calling. Why am I here? The answer is as complex as it is simple. I am here for the kids. I am a building block in their foundation, one of many who will shape and mold them into a human who will one day have a positive impact on our world. Ms. Alisea has received Board Spotlight recognitions 4 times, presented at the NCTIES conference, been recognized as an Afro teacher, been trained in classroom learning systems, and served as a teacher trainer for Amplified, Freckle, Promethean, and Tales to Go. Since our immediate transition to remote learning started in March 2020, Ms. Alisea has participated in numerous digital and blended learning professional learning sessions and has always been able to assist her colleagues as they all continued learning together to provide the best possible educational experience for students and to partner with parents. Once again, a heartfelt congratulations to Ms. Alisea.
Are we sure?
Well, that is all of our recognition.
Let's give everybody a hand clap again for such a wonderful job. I'd like to say that we are very proud of all that they do, and some of them win every year, just about like Mrs. Gatchell. So we are just happy that they participate and that they are winners, and we appreciate their participation. And right now, we will have a 10 minutes break.
No, no, summary.
Oh, I'm ready for a break, because I'm hot. All right, will you give us a summary, please?
Yes, thank you. I want y'all to notice the football up there for spring football. I didn't pick any team colors. I didn't put the ball up there,
That's
but
smart.
you know, there we go. So this is the summary from our work session on Tuesday. Items presented for information only, the purple up presentation, which we were all inspired. A lot of us are wearing purple tonight to celebrate our military families. Farm to table presentation, board meeting schedule review, board stakeholder concerns, trend analysis. Policy discussions that we had, no action was taken on them. Policy 2310 on public participation at board meetings, policy 7820 personnel records, policy 2340 parliamentary procedure, and policy 1010 board authority and duties. Items that we moved to consent agenda for approval tonight. That means we talked about them and we're just going to approve them in one sweep tonight. The human resources report, local current expense and capital outlay budget, out-of-county tuition rates, Apple lease resolution, summer reading program, Tucker Creek Middle School property settlement, coastal community action lease, and bus purchase agreement. One item was moved for approval tonight. We'll have a roll call vote on that, the 2021-2022 academic calendar. I know you guys are all waiting for. And then we had some additional items, discussion of modern teacher, which is moved to next month for further. That should say board meeting evaluation. And then we had a closed session. And now we are back for today's business.
Yes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. That is all.
Are you sure?
I'm positive.
Now we can have a break.
Yes.
Thank you. I'll take your break, take your mask break. I call this meeting of the Craven County Board of Education back to order. And at this time, I want to know, do we have any public input?
We do have one, Chairman Boomer, we have Mr. Muse.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Muse, for coming out, and you are welcome. And I know you probably already realized that you have 5 minutes. And state your name and your address, please, for us. And it is bedtime, you can kind of like that to make sure that you look at. Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Madam Chair. My name's Greg Muse, live over in James City here in Craven County. Thank y'all for being here. Thank the staff for being here and for setting this up. I wished I could say I'm glad I'm here, but I'm not. I wish I could say I thank you for the opportunity, but I shouldn't have to be here. Something's come to my attention. I don't know if y'all are aware of it or not, and I'll go ahead and throw it out there. And I don't understand the administration here with the school system, but if y'all familiar with Donors Choose, anyone besides Miss King. Yeah. I know you are, Miss Clark. I seen where you helped the cadet school, I think, a couple of months ago with a project that they were putting on. It's come to my attention that the teachers, principals, whatever, have been told no more. And I don't quite understand why. I don't know if y'all have a reasoning why. I don't really understand how you could do that, because at the end of the day, it's not about the teacher, the principal, the school, it's about the children. Y'all have no idea.
We don't know.
They were up today.
We don't know about that. But you go home and finish.
Would y'all like a few minutes to Google it? I wish y'all would.
Just go ahead and finish yours.
It's a resource that teachers go through throughout the state and actually throughout the nation. And I guess after this, y'all will probably have some kind of national recognition through it for teachers being reprimanded and restricted from using this. They can go to it with whatever project they have, whatever goals they wish to meet for items or any kind of use to help in their curriculum in their school, to motivate kids, any kind of thing to do like that to help progress with their education, whether it's kindergarten, 3rd grade, 12th grade, all different things. I don't understand why teachers have been restricted of doing this, or why they can't go to this resource. Because then again, like I say, it's the children that are going to suffer. There's many different things. We done a project, finished it off the other day in Lewisburg, which is a small town up above Raleigh, and it was for your exceptional children, you know, and they have different needs and different uses and stuff like that. I know here in Craven, after the flood, there was a school that had a need for playground equipment because the flood come, the storm, and we rebuilt, y'all revamped the schools, but it was a school. These kids need outside activities. They needed playground stuff. We done that. They have to burn energy. You can't put a 6-7-year-old in a desk all day long. You know, I mean, I don't know if it's something towards me or something that y'all are trying to do to stop maybe the district from looking bad for teachers doing it. They do it nationwide. I don't understand it. I mean, there's a broad range of projects that the teachers do, the classes do and everything to try and help accommodate their learning. You know, I wish y'all were more aware of it, but I can't wrap my mind around it. Why? I mean, I don't know if y'all are willing to give an explanation today or in the morning, or why you would stop that child from having a happy, thriving, learning environment. You know, there's parents here in town that get to it. Just the other day, there was a young lady, I won't use her name, put stuff into a project here in Craven County, and she's from New Bern. Why would you stop this? Why? I mean, you go back and you look a couple of months ago, and we're going to load up a bunch of third graders with some candy in 90-degree weather and go knocking door to door to sell candy. For real? For real. When they should be worrying about getting their homework. I mean, I just, just don't. You had a question, Ms. Clark?
Yes, sir. I don't know where your information is emanating
Ms.
from.
Clark, we can't respond to him right now. We have a
Oh,
process. And we're going to respond to him, but we can't do it at this time.
Sorry, ma'am.
Okay.
School staff, excuse me. I just wanted to ask y'all that, share that with y'all. I know as we approach, I guess we're working on the way of 200 vacancies. When teachers find this out, as they are day to day now, I mean, it's just another nail in the coffin. Let's be proactive. I don't understand it. Appreciate y'all listening.
You can't ask questions.
I just want, what was the name? Donors?
Donors choose. CHOOES, donors. OOSD, donors choose. They're located in New York.
I don't want to, okay. In light of what in light of what is happening and all of this, I think and we're gonna go against the grid for a moment. Because some things need to be taken care of immediately. And we need some clarification. Dr. Doyle, you can have that for us, because to my knowledge, we don't know anything about any teachers being stopped doing anything, so we need to get that clear.
We have no knowledge of anyone being told that they cannot do grants for Donors Choose. I feel like, and I'm just speaking from memory at this time, but we adjusted policy sometime in the last 12 to 18 months to facilitate our ability to use Donors Choose as a place for people to make donations. Other than that, I don't have any other information. So if we could get some information from Mr. Muse about where this is occurring, then we'll be glad to address it. But we're not aware of it.
Thank you for saying that and clarifying it for teachers. I didn't want to leave that sitting out there with people thinking it. Ms. Clark and I both were saying that we just solved things up on Donors Choose.
As
So,
of 2 days ago.
yeah,
And
so.
may I respond further, Madam Chair?
Yes, ma'am, go on.
Since we're deviating. Normally, I don't divulge the charities I give to, but as of 2 days ago, I disseminated 2 donors to do 2 specific schools in Havelock that were funneled to me through Donors Choose at 2 different schools. So I would like us to get this cleared up, because it's misinformation, sir, or whoever's doing it, we need to find out who.
Okay, we all know that Greg's my husband, and he's very generous, and he does a lot of stuff with Donors Choose. So he came home this evening before I came here tonight, and he asked me. So I called a principal and teacher. I called an elementary principal, and I called a high school teacher. And I haven't talked to Greg about this, but they both told me, yes, they can still use Donors Choose. However, the items that they put up there that they need now have to be approved, that they can't just put stuff up there. That I had a principal tell me that stuff has to be approved, and I had a teacher tell me stuff has to be approved. I don't know, he told me about it, and I called in the car on the way over here.
And that's why it's so important that we follow the concern process. That will avoid all of the confusion that we have about things that are being done. We have a concern process, Mr. Muse, when anybody has a complaint, they will call a board member. That board member we have a process that we can get the answer for you quickly. We can get the answers. Because to me, it seems like there's some misinformation that has been sent out, or the principal, or somebody didn't understand, and now we got a confusion here. We hear the superintendent say that is not true, that has not been done. She has not told anybody not to do this. And so right now Ms. Muse is saying that she got a phone call from some.
No, I called. I called.
She investigated, and now she's got one set of, you got one story, she has one story, So we need time to investigate and then we can give you an answer.
Please.
All right, we will investigate, but what I'm hearing right now, that what you heard is not completely true. I think that somebody probably got some information mixed up. And that's why it's so important that we follow our concern process to give us opportunity to get it to the right people so that we as board members don't investigate anything. We're not supposed to investigate. We're supposed to get it to the right people. And the people who's responsible for it, will do the investigation for us, and then we'll give an answer. Then we can give the right answer out to the public. And this will avoid a lot of confusion.
Do you
But I
have,
appreciate you doing that, and I really do. I can hear the sincerity in your heart, and I know that this is something that you want to be done, and we don't know anything about it.
do you have a neutral third party that investigates?
We're
When I
falling
say
back
a
under
process, when I say
dialogue.
a process, if it's,
Point of order.
it depends on who it's not always, if you asking me about the door to one, all the time, no, she's not. It depends on who it goes to. It may be a curriculum problem. And then we give it to the person who has to do the investigation. Maybe a transportation problem. It goes to Mr. Lee, maybe human resource. We have people maybe a financial thing. So we have different people in different places who handle those situations. So it's not any one particular person. No, sir. It's not any one particular person. But I would think that if the superintendent had to do the investigation, that we would trust that she's going to do the right thing and give us the right information. We trust that to get the right information, because we can go down behind her and investigate too. If she's giving the wrong information, then we can find out that she's giving the wrong information. But we have to trust the system. We have to trust the process. And when we trust the process, then we don't have to go through all of this. But I appreciate you coming. I appreciate your sharing. And so that we can investigate thoroughly, check, and we have to go to each school and find out what is going on with that.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
how it's been utilized. But thank you so much for coming
Thank
and
you.
letting us know. And we appreciate that, what you were trying to do.
Thank you.
Mrs. Boomer.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
I don't want to belabor the issue. And I know that there's going to be an investigation, but I'd be remiss if I didn't say there's a big difference in not allowing folk to participate in the grant, which is not being done, and also the principal having the authority to approve a grant, which based on my experience, PI, Bright Ideas, any grant, you must get the principal's approval. That's just standard operating procedure.
Right.
No matter what school or entity you're involved in. So thank you for allowing me to deviate
Thank you.
from the agenda.
It needed to be answered, and I appreciate
Yes, ma'am.
that.
Yeah, we don't want
Okay.
teachers panicking all night over that.
Right. We got enough going on as it is. We certainly don't need anything else put on our plates. Amen. Amen. At this time, that was all the public input,
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Smith.
Yes, Chairman Boomer.
Thank you so much. And at this time, we have our local current expense and capital outlay budget request. And I think I turn this over to Dr. Doyle, and she will let us know what we are to do.
Chairman Boomer, Vice Chairman Smith, members of the board, I'm going to repeat the presentation that I made on Tuesday at the work session on the 2022 local current expense budget. Ms. Altman is going to follow behind me. After that, then we will open the floor up if there's any public comment or hearing about the budget. We'll open that up, allow that public comment to be received, and then we would ask the board to approve the local current expense budget if it is your wish to do so. Good evening, members of the public and members of our audience who are participating this evening. Just a couple of things to remind us where we've been in the last 12 to 18 months, but also to celebrate some of the things that our budget has been able to accomplish for our staff. First, last school year, during our local current expense budget process, as well as through our partnership with the Board of Commissioners, we were able to raise the teacher supplement from 9% for all of our classroom teachers and instructional personnel to 10%. This represents, as I mentioned, a partnership with our Board of Commissioners that has increased our supplement over the last several years from approximately 5.7% to now 10%, and we will hold that request the same this school year. We've increased trained educators in classroom learning systems from 15 to 21 schools, and during the celebrations this evening, at the end of the board meeting, I'm going to highlight some of those teachers today that I got the opportunity to share and the wonderful things that are going on in those classrooms at 2 of our schools. We restarted the Craven County Schools Leadership Academy, and we've conducted sessions on leadership as well as human resources for both our principals and our assistant principals. Our early colleges have continued with graduation rates that are some of the highest in the state, and our professional learning, obviously, in addition to classroom learning systems, has been focused on digital and blended learning. And the work of our blended learning director has helped us to realize that as well. I would be remiss if I did not acknowledge the work that's been done by school nutrition in ensuring that over 1 million meals were served just in the time period between March 13th of 2020 and June 10th of 2020. That is in addition to all of the work that's been done this year to transition our schools and all of our staff's work, our teachers' work, some of who are in this building and in this room tonight, to transition from remote instruction to hybrid instruction to in-person instruction, sometimes back to remote instruction. And then today, we started in-person instruction for our secondary students 4 days a week, and we're very happy to have them back all together. And I can say that as we were with our students today, there was a lot of happy faces for them to be able to be with their friends and colleagues. Just a reminder, our Board of Education adopted a mission in 2018, June of 2018, that represented the hopes and dreams and aspirations of our community. That was a 62-member representative group of our community, from elected officials to religious and community leaders from the very northeastern part of our county to the very southeastern part of our county. And that vision really represents the work that we are trying to achieve for not just all of our students and the learning that we hope to ensure that provides them a successful life, but also a community that wraps its arms and hearts around them to make sure that they're successful. And in addition, after we adopted and the board adopted that vision, we also decided what our mission was going to be to ensure that we achieve that vision. I would be remiss if I didn't say, especially after the comments that I heard today, that we still have a great deal of work to do, especially in the area of ensuring that every one of our students sees themselves in every position, both positions that we have in this room, but every position or profession that they can see in our community. That includes our teachers, making sure that our students see themselves in their teachers and also their administrators, but also in our community. And so we are still continuing that work, and that is an important labor that we will continue to aspire to, and only then, when every one of our students sees themselves and realizes their fullest potential, will we be able to achieve this vision. We have 5 strategic goals, which really fall in 3 big buckets, and those big buckets are ensuring that our students are successful academically, ensuring that they are safe and that our teachers work in a safe and inviting learning environment, and that our resources are used effectively and efficiently, and that's part of our presentation this evening. We continue to have challenges, as we always do. One thing that I did not mention on Tuesday, but I think it's important to mention today, and I know many of our board members are engaged in this concern, is that we have not had an adopted state budget in several years. we are embarking on another summer where it's possible that we will not have an adopted state budget and we'll be operating in a continuing budget mode, which is beginning to have an impact on our revenues coming from the state. One example is our local fiscal effort. The money that our county commissioners provide to us has increased over the last several years. And in that, we should be eligible for more state funding because the low wealth funding formula provides that if the local effort is at a certain level, if our socioeconomic disparities in our county are at a specific level, then we qualify for what is called state low wealth money. Well, our projections for those allotments have been higher over the last several years. However, we've not realized receiving those revenues from the state because the state is still operating on the continuing budget that they were operating on in fiscal 2019. Is that correct? And so that's really a problem for us because these are funds that would be able to be leveraged to support our students at even higher levels. I want to just provide some context about that local per pupil effort. You'll see that our county has made a increasing commitment and investment in our school system. However, that investment is compared against other districts in our region. This provides our local current expense. So this is the amount of money we get from our local government for public education as compared with several of the districts in our region. You can see that it changes over time. So this, the first graph was 2014-15. This is 15-16, 16-17, 17-18. You'll see that 18-19, as a reminder, we had a hurricane, and so we received some state funds to reimburse us for the expenditure of money to repair buildings during that time, which causes many of the counties in the region to shoot up because that was attributed to our local current expense allotments at that time. But then again, those revenues normalize. And so our local effort has increased over time, as you can see, but we still, in terms of the other larger sized districts in our region, have a bit of a ways to go. Another one of our big challenges, and our board has been truly engaged in this for over 2 years now, is the issue with our capital investments. We have buildings in Craven County schools that are on average as old as 50 years. The average age of our buildings is 1971. In fact, 2 of our high schools are that age, and many of our schools are much older than that. Some schools at 70 years old and moving higher. What else is a challenge is that many of those schools, because of K-3 class size requirements, now can only hold much smaller enrollments than were previously planned for these buildings when they were originally built. And because of enrollment changes in our community that have had been impacted by multiple different factors, we have enrollment at these schools, which is very small. What you see there is 2 different numbers, and one is what our enrollment was at the second month of the 2019-20 school year, and where we were with membership in the current school year. And here's where that becomes a real challenge. We are allotted teachers based on a formula. The state allotment policy manual provides our positions, and this K-3 class size allotment has changed over time. This is actually the allotment for the 2019 school year. You can see that, for example, J.T. Barber Elementary School earns about 13 positions, okay? However, they only, they earned 12 positions that year, and they got 1 locally allotted resource teacher. However, when you add all those numbers of teachers up, they still are lacking 2 teachers for either an art, a music, or a PE position. And so they're forced with making a choice of, do I take a teacher from my K-5 class allotment and reduce and add that art, music, or PE, and have higher class sizes in that particular grade? Or do we try to figure out a way to make that work from our local budget? And most of the times, it's a combination of the two. They may be using or leveraging Title I funds to lower class size and free up positions, but not every one of our schools has that option. What's even more challenging is that K-3 class size is a requirement that we adhere to for grades K through 3. Although we are allotted positions based on formulas all the way up through 12th grade, we have no class size maximums in those grades. So a child can move from a 3rd grade classroom where they can't have any more than 21 students this year, and then could move to a 4th grade classroom where they could have as many as 31. Now, Dr. Miller and her staff work really, really hard to make sure that's not happening. And there's a lot of work that is constantly being done, really from the 1st of January into September, to balance classes and balance class sizes to make sure that we don't have really large class sizes. However, you'll see that we are using positions, human resources, which represent approximately 80% of our budget, in smaller schools at a higher ratio. And this is an example, 2 schools in our Havelock area that are very close together. In fact, someone who plays baseball well could probably throw a baseball from one school to the other. And they have totally different numbers of students that they serve in terms of their membership. Arthur Edwards right at about 580 students and can be up as high as 600 during a school year. And both of these schools, because of military connected students, have an influx and outflow of students of sometimes up to 1/3 of their students in any given school year. So even though it says that Arthur Edwards serves 580 students on average, in a school year, they may see anywhere from 750 to 900 students. That's a lot of work on that school and on those teachers to bring new students in, acclimate them to the classroom, and sometimes then send them out before the school year even ends. But you can see here that based on our human resources and how we're allotting, you can see that in a Graham Barden Elementary School that's only serving 254 students, we're still giving them the same number of kind of administrative, sometimes instructional support. They have 1 assistant principal, both schools, 1 counselor, both schools, but the ratios that they're serving in terms of students are much, much different. And again, both of these buildings are very old and really in adjacent attendance areas. And it creates, again, a disparity in the amount of resources that one school is getting versus another. And we really want to, and the board has really committed to focusing on equity of resources across our district. And so these are issues that we've got to confront. You can see the cost to operate, and these are just based on estimated costs. How much does it cost us with salary and benefits to pay an assistant principal, a guidance counselor, a receptionist, bookkeeper, those types of salaries? And it brings us all the way to approximately $900,000 to operate that small school. So where we have, and again, our Board of Education and our community, and we'll refresh this soon, has received lots of presentations on our long-range facility master plan. This amount of money represents recurring investments in these small schools that if we were to ensure that we had a better distribution of our students across our district, we might be able to leverage these resources in a way that lowered class size further, provided more teachers in buildings in ways that might be more effective for the learning of our students. This is also challenged by the fact that the geographic proximity of our schools is very, very close. You can see, as I mentioned before, between Graham Barden and Arthur Edwards, you might be able to throw a baseball if you're a really good baseball player. That would not be me. That might be somebody in this room, but not me. And also Gerganus, which is right almost across the road from Graham Barden Elementary School. Arthur Edwards, I apologize. Then you have Havelock Elementary School and Roger Bell, again, less than a mile from each other, or really within a mile of each other. And this poses the challenges that we're talking about in terms of the high number of very small schools. We have 9 schools in our school system, 9 of them being elementary schools, 9 of the 15 that can only serve 312 students now because of the K-3 class size requirements. New Bern is even more complex. And the schools are also just as close. You have schools that are within miles of each other, and an athletic person could probably run to all those schools in less than half a day. And these schools, again, all can serve very low numbers of students. And although it's a benefit to have a small school, it's only beneficial if the class sizes are small, if the resources are equal, if the instruction is at the same high level, and the building is safe and inviting for students to work in and learn in, and for our teachers to work in, and our staff to operate in. As you know, enrollment has been a challenge in Craven County schools for a number of years, really since the recession. And many different factors have influenced those enrollment trends over the last several years. That include how we handle reassignment, redistricting that happened, as well as the impacts of natural disaster. When the district went through the process of redistricting approximately, I think it was now 7 years ago, there was forecasting done in terms of population growth. This graph represents that population growth projection, and we're almost to the point where this projection is ending, and we'll be able to refresh this graph actually in the next couple of weeks. But you can see that there are dips in the elementary enrollment, which began and correspond to how our graph looks. And a lot of it's based on birth rates. The green line is elementary school, the red line is our high school, and the blue line is the middle grades. And you can see that once the elementary line falls, then a couple of years later, then the middle school will start falling, and you'll see the same thing for our high schools as well. But these enrollment projections, in addition to being driven by our birth rates, are also being driven by military reorganization. We heard on Tuesday when our military liaison counselor did a presentation that there's a great deal of construction happening on Marine Corps Air Station Cherry Point, which is great news because that means the F-35B is coming to Cherry Point, which is going to bring not just a pilot and not just a naval flight officer, hopefully with it, but it's going to come with all of the maintenance crew and all of the staff that support that pilot and that aircraft. And we're projected at one point, I remember reading, anywhere between 75 and 113 aircraft. That also has to spin up a great deal more employees at FRC East and the supporting staff to go with them. Classified pay also is a challenge, and this is information from fiscal year 2021, so that where we ended last summer. We had, through the work of our Human Resources Department and all of the focus on our classified staff, begun to assess all of our employee groups. We still have groups to go. We still have to address several of our employee groups and our classified staff. This is all hamstrung by the fact that our state salary schedule for classified staff has not changed appreciably since before the recession. You can see oftentimes there may be a 1% raise, but 1% of $25,000 is not very much at all. And I encourage you to do the math. Oftentimes, classified staff were offered a bonus that did not contribute to their retirement, which is stunning. And these are some of the lowest paid of our employees. And so as I said, we've worked on this, but there's a limit to the amount that we can work because, again, most of our revenue is state revenue. We're only talking about 20% of our total budget tonight, which comes from local county government. But the state is where we get the bulk of our revenue, and they support the bulk of our human resources. Classified pay has got to be a focus, I hope, of our General Assembly and our Department of Public Instruction. As you know, teacher turnover continues to be a challenge, and it's an area that we are continuing to target from our Human Resources Office, but also from our principals. I've said this to our principals, and I'll say it here. Not our principals, I'll say it to the public, and I also have said it to our principals. I'll say it here. We hire the folks at this central office, but our teachers are hired by our principals, and we are trying to put the tools into their hands to allow them to not just hire the best, but hire as early as possible so that we can compete across the region for what is now very, very few education graduates coming out of our institutions of higher education. Not just our HBCUs, but our university, all other university system. We need to make sure that we're going to all of those locations to recruit. But also one thing that has become very successful in the last several months is us recruiting from our own ranks, and in particular, our teacher assistants. I had the opportunity to see 2 teacher assistants yesterday who have, I think, been sitting in our schools for quite a while with bachelor's degrees who are now going to become teachers starting in this fall. That's 2 that I became aware of that were not ones that Dr. Miller had made me aware of. She has also begun to make contact with other teacher assistants to encourage them to pursue those options. And part of our current expense budget has funds in it to support those teacher assistants in going back. There are many additional challenges. One is the continued impact of COVID because we don't know what's going to happen with the state budget, how they're going to make adjustments regarding our allotments and our enrollment changes as a result. We are maintaining our request from the last 2 years. So this will be the 3rd year in a row we've made the same request of local county government. And a great deal of that reason is because we understand the challenges that they have been through because of the same natural disasters that we've all endured. We'll continue to have some health-related costs that include PPE, continued training, and as the board has begun considering ventilation, mechanical system upgrades, we hope that will be able to be funded by our federal ESSER funds. Uniquely this school year, we have not received a projection on our benefits cost increases. And so as we get those, we may have to come back to the Board of Education for adjustments because that will surely reflect increases in our costs. And we have lost over the last several years, and I was looking at this data on Wednesday, approximately $650,000 since 2013 in federal impact aid. There was a time previous to my tenure here where we were receiving above $2 million a year. And this year, I think our projected revenue is $1.3 million. So our local current expense recommendation is aligned to our strategic plan, focusing on improving literacy and math skills and performance and closing gaps in learning due to the amount of instructional time that's been lost this school year, maintaining our supplement and recruiting our own teachers and staff to become teachers, continuing our curriculum resources adoption in areas where we have not provided a core curriculum resource, continuing our professional development with classroom learning systems and digital and blended learning, and ensuring that safety and security and our mechanical upgrades are continuing. Again, our considerations for this school year involve making sure that we have systematic, and consistent literacy instruction. You may be aware, and we're going to get more information about this over the coming months, that the Department of Public Instruction, our new state superintendent, and the General Assembly are all on the same page with regard to literacy instruction and the changes that are coming with regard to the science of reading. I want to be clear that this does not mean that we're abandoning everything that we have been doing, but in fact, Craven County Schools has already been moving in the right direction with the curriculum that we've adopted so far. Our K-5 English Language Arts curriculum provides a skills block, that's the open up curriculum, provides skills block instruction that is really transforming the phonics instruction that our K2 teachers are providing so that our students have a great foundation in being able to decode words, understand them, and build their reading comprehension over time. We're going to have to address benefits cost increases. We're still waiting for those numbers. Continuing our teacher supplement and including all of our instructional staff in that, and using our ESSER 2 and 3 funds to leverage improvements that we already know and have been surveyed to need in our buildings based on the long-range facility master plan that our board has been working on. Revenue adjustments, and I'm going to actually let Ms. Altman cover these because she is going to cover them in her presentation, but there are minor revenue adjustments this budget time. But again, the total request that we're making of local county government is a net neutral. We don't, again, know about the benefits increases. However, we'll make those adjustments as we receive them. And then our capital outlay budget reflects our needs as requested by our school principals and department heads, and as vetted and assessed against priorities for FIRST, life and safety, benefits to the instructional program, and our legal requirements as we move into this next school year. Again, that request is essentially the same as last budget year. And with that, I do want to provide a history of our fund balance. We've tried to be good stewards of the money that we've received, but also to make sure that we are right sizing our allotments and how we allot our resources. Some of this is work that needs to continue, and some of it is also related to the disasters that we've had to endure and the adjustments we've had to make as a result. This is just a comparison over the last 5 years of our requests and the changes over time in those requests. And you can see our county appropriation for the last 3 years is remaining the same. However, we are happy and proud of the work that we've been able to do to really leverage that request to improve at least compensation for our teachers, as well as begin and make investments in the tools that our students need to be successful. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Altman and allow her to provide a summary of the full local current expense budget. Mr. Silvero, we'll need you. And once Ms. Altman is done, then I'll open the hearing.
Thank you.
The PowerPoint presentation that was on a white background, I believe, is the one that has the capital slide at the end, Steve. Okay, good evening, everyone. I would like to provide a little additional information that basically drills down to the changes within the actual budget document itself. As I mentioned to you on Tuesday morning, you have the complete spreadsheet for both the local current expense budget and the capital outlay budget in your agenda items so that you can review each line item. But I'd like to draw your attention to the changes that are specific in the revenues and expenses. Okay. First slide, I think we skipped one, is just general information for you. As Dr. Dole mentioned, at the time that this draft was prepared, DPI had not yet released the state planning allotments for fiscal year 21-22. However, we work together in cabinet as Wendy does work on the teaching allotments. We work on the formulas with the most recent ADM numbers from Dr. Cooper, and we do our own estimates of our state allotments so that we know a starting point to do the local current expense budget. This proposed local current expense budget and capital outlay budget will be presented at the county commissioners meeting, which I believe is May 3rd. Always the first Monday in May, for their consideration so that they can include whatever our request is in their budget document for the year. The second slide is just some additional background data for you. It shows how DPI does our allotment. Each year they look at what our allotted ADM versus allotted ADM is the higher of the projected ADM or the actual ADM. So they look at what our actual numbers are. They look at what they would have projected our ADM to be, and we get the benefit because we get the higher of the two numbers. However, they do come back after the start of the school year and evaluate what our actual numbers are in the first and second month of the school year. If we differ by more than 100 students, we will receive adjustments. And so you will see those adjustments come back to you in August and September as budget amendments, and that you'll see the fluctuation if there's any decreases to those funding pots. If we have more students, which would be a great problem to have, we have to actually request that DPI adjust our allotments, but we have submitted that request in the past, and it's not anything super difficult if we were to face that situation. The next slide is the revenue adjustment. So these are the specific changes to the funds that we anticipate. The first is a slight increase in the projected sales tax revenue from 100,000 to 110. The second item there is an increase in the projected revenues for DoD Section 386 for technology. That is PRC 345. That revenue came in substantially higher this year, and so we have increased that estimate to 400,000. The next item is an increase in the projected revenues from North Carolina Medicaid ADM funds from 150,000 to 200,000. As Dr. Dole mentioned, our county appropriations amount is the same as last fiscal year. We did also adjust our fines and forfeiture revenue from 350,000 to 475, and that's based on our current year collections that were up. And we decreased our projected interest earnings because we were seeing quite a difference in what we were bringing in every month this year. So we reduced that number from 90,000 to 40,000 next year. The next slide is the specific expenditures. As we mentioned, DPI has not yet provided us guidance related to benefit costs for retirement or health insurance. So these items have not been adjusted in the spreadsheet yet for any increases that we will see. In the past, what we have done is once those numbers are provided from DPI, we go back and calculate based on the salaries that are in the local budget, what that monetary difference is. And at that point, we can determine whether we have the funds to cover the difference. We need to make an allocation of fund balance. And in some years, when it's been a relatively large number, we have gone back to the county commissioners and asked for help with that additional amount. So we have those options. Another item for you to note is that our charter school allotment has been increased due to increased number of students in charters and virtual charters. We've seen a number of new virtual charter schools this year. And so our enrollment in those charter schools is approximately 293 students. So when we see additional students going out to charter schools, that's additional local money that we have to share with them. And that number has increased in the past several years. It's been ranging between 240 and 260 students. We kept the instructional supplement the same at 10%. And we did create a new PRC this year, which is a program report code, 805. That is for student information and accountability. That is going to help us group together any costs for testing and PowerSchool in one area. We increased the local match for SROs in PRC 39 due to additional 4 positions at our schools. And then we had a few other small increases for utility costs and insurance increases. The next slide refers to fund balance appropriated. We wanted to give you an update for fiscal year 2021. The board had approved a fund balance allocation of just over $1.7 million. However, due to turnover in positions and lapsed salary, we also had savings in areas like travel and training. We do not anticipate having to use any of that fund balance that we originally allocated. So what will happen is if our expenditures continue the trend that they have been for the last several months, we will be able to add that money back to the existing fund balance. And as of June 30th, 2021, we had an unassigned fund balance of just over $5.9 million. If we don't spend any of that 1.7, we will bring that number back up to about $7.7 million. So the current budget does not appear that we're going to have to use any of that fund balance appropriated. Next year's budget plan, we would need to allocate $1.4 million of fund balance in order to balance the revenues and expenditures. But even given that, our fund balance is at a healthy level. If we did need to spend the $1.4 million in next year, we would still have an unallocated fund balance amount of approximately $6.2 million. The last slide that I had for you was also the capital budget, in case you had any questions about that. And just in summary, the total local current expense budget that we are asking you to consider the draft to be approved to move forward to the county commissioners is $26,403,761, and the total of the capital outlay budget is $1,958,000. Is there any questions I can answer for you? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Denise. Thank you, Ms. Altman, so much for that report. Lots of numbers. But thank you. Dr. Dorr?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. At this time, we will open the public hearing for the fiscal year 2022 local current expense and capital outlay budgets for Craven County Schools. As part of this hearing, all members of the audience who have signed up and wish to speak about the fiscal year 2022 budget are invited to speak for a time not to exceed 5 minutes. There are no citizens that have signed up to speak at this time. With that, do we have any other members of the audience who wish to speak on the fiscal year 2022 local current expense and capital outlay budget? Hearing none, and with no members of the audience wishing to speak on the fiscal year 2022 local current expense budget, the budget hearing closes. Chairman, I turn it over to you for action.
All right, at this time, I'd like to get a motion to adopt the fiscal year 2022 current expense and capital outlay budget request for Craven County Schools.
So moved.
Second.
It has been moved and second that we adopt the fiscal year 2022 current expense and capital outlay budget request for Craven County Schools. You have heard the motion. Are you ready for the question? All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same. Ayes have it, and the budget is approved, adopted. At this time, I get a motion to approve the board meeting minutes for the following meeting dates: February 16th, 2021, the Board of Education work session meeting minutes; February 18th, 2021, Board of Education meeting minutes; and March 11th, 2021, Board of Education special call meeting minutes.
I make a motion to approve all the minutes as presented.
Need a second.
So we have a second? We have a brave second? It has been moved and second that the board meeting minutes for those said dates be approved. And so we need a vote on each one of them individually. We do them
The
together.
motion was for all of them.
Yeah, thumbs up. Did we get all of them? So we good.
So we need to vote though.
Oh, I thought we had
All in
voted.
favor?
All right. All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same. Ayes have it. These minutes have been approved.
Chairman, I think you've skipped item J, academic services with Dr. Diggs.
I'm sorry, Dr. Diggs. I don't have it in mind. I didn't write it in mind.
Well, I have it after finance.
It was, but it was before the minutes.
Thank you. We all work together.
Yep. The team.
Yes.
Good evening, members of the board.
Good evening.
I come before you this evening regarding the academic calendar, traditional academic calendar, as well as our early college academic calendars for the 2021-2022 school year. This information was presented to you on Tuesday, and there was some discussion on Tuesday. And so it came before you this evening for a decision between which of the calendars we would abide by for the next school year. So I didn't know if there was any additional questions from Tuesday that I could address or that you have.
I think we are ready to vote. I think we're ready to vote. I talked with our attorney because I was not sure how we would go about doing this because we have a calendar 1 and a calendar 2. So he said that one of the board members has to make a motion on a particular calendar and that we would go from there to vote on that on that particular calendar.
Madam
We have
Chairman,
calendar- Yes, sir.
I was going to rise to motion that we consider option 2, the calendar that has exams before Christmas.
Okay, so that's a motion.
Yes, ma'am.
Second.
Okay, it has been moved and second that we adopt calendar 2,
I
which,
would- Yeah, I would like to have discussion on that before we.
Okay.
okay, no
And I
problem.
just want to say, because I'm going to vote probably against most of you and against every stakeholder who's called me this week. But I want to say why.
Mhm.
Because the stakeholders that called me, I had parents from, early graduates,
Mhm.
parents with dual enrollments,
Mhm.
military families with moves, all of them, saying the calendar before Christmas would be, ideal for them.
Mhm.
But the voices that I kept hearing were the silent ones
Mhm.
of the kids that I work with all summer. You don't have somebody to call for them, and who are not your high-performing students. They are probably your, average to struggling students who deserve equity in their calendar. And I'm trying really hard to be more aware of things, Mr. Godwin, and I've learned a lot from sitting side by side with Chairman Boomer. But there's too much inequity in the days for me. And the high-performing students will do fine with fewer days. A lot of kids won't. And to say that the days don't matter would say that if you could, I heard the conversation about we could move the courses, that they need to take the second semester, but to say that for all kids says that we would have one semester if all the important classes could fit in one semester, so that's why, and I know people are probably screaming at me because all of my calls were for that.
Mhm.
But when you're trying to, equity doesn't just mean personnel. Equity means cuts across everything: nutrition, resources, services, academics, and there's a tremendous difference between those two calendars for me. So I just want to clarify why.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else have any more discussion about that?
I did want to make a comment while I made the motion. It's a hard one. It's something we've struggled with
Mhm.
for a number of years. And the thing that tips me is the articulation with the college, the community college, and the college system for our students that are at high school level that are most directly affected by that. There have to be accommodations across the board for all students, but those in particular suffer the consequences of a late start into the second semester. And for that reason, that's the tipping point for me.
Okay. And I think, any more discussion? Anyone else has anything else to say? I did hear there were some statistics that say that it's as for, and I understand what you're saying, Ms. Smith, and I respect what you were saying. And I know that you have a heart for what you're saying. But I did hear about some statistics that show that there's not really, as far as performance on their exam, it's not that really much difference in whether they take them before Christmas or after Christmas. It really wasn't that much of a discrepancy. And anybody else have any more comments that you would like to say? If not, we will proceed to vote. And I guess we will have a roll call vote. And what we're asking is those people who is having a roll call vote for calendar 2.
Option
Okay?
2.
Option 2,
So this is a motion and a second for option 2 calendar.
yes.
Ms. Frances Boomer.
Yes.
Ms. Naomi Clark.
Yes.
Mr. Victor Dove.
Can I skip a vote?
I can come back. Mr. Carol Ipock.
Yes.
Ms. Stephanie King.
Yes.
Ms. Kelly Muse.
Yes.
Ms. Kimberly Smith.
No.
Mr. Victor Dove.
Can I not vote?
You can abstain, correct?
Yes.
Okay. The only reason because I guess I have to digest, since I am the freshman, I like to say that. I have to digest, are we saying having exams and getting out of, that's what I keep hearing. We're talking about a whole calendar, but all I keep hearing is about having exams before Christmas or after.
can I
Please.
respond? In the March, your very first meeting, I think we may have talked about this. One of the questions and the reason we went back and obtained additional information and put out this option 2 calendar, this one for feedback, was because there was requests from the board and concerns that were shared, I think, with the board members from the community members regarding having an option with exams, high school exams before winter break. And so that would mean, based on what going back to what Mr. Alcott was saying, first semester would end before we get out for Christmas break. And any of those students who had met all of the graduation requirements, the seniors, could finish high school at that time. And if they chose to start community college classes or university classes or join the military, they're able to do that without having to return in January for about 2 more weeks to take final exams. When they do have to come back second semester, after winter break to take exams, the community college and university schedules have typically already started, and those students would miss out on that opportunity.
Could you explain how that balances the days? though?
Yes, and so on that second page of the calendar that you're looking at, there's a difference in the number of days from first semester to second semester. So first semester, there are 82 days, which would be 78 instructional days, because 4 of those days are for final exams for the high school students.
I just had an aha moment.
Okay.
I have to quit relating everything to when I was in school because we went to school the whole year.
Well, yes.
So I understand what we're saying now. So I vote yes.
Okay.
All year long, wasn't getting out after December. So that does make sense.
They're on a block schedule, so the classes are ending at that time.
So,
But I also see what they're talking about because when I was in school, I don't mean to take up time. I mean, I wasn't a low performance student, but I still like to have that time over the break to study extra, you know, during the Christmas break. I could cram or whatnot, get a final review. So I see exactly what you're
Mine's
saying.
not about the breakdown. My concern is in the actual instructional days. I mean, but I understand everybody, you know, there's no good calendar until the legislature gives us a local calendar that is best for all students. So there's no right or wrong with this. This is just my heart and instructional days.
So, Mr. Dove, I'm just going to call your name one time and give you one more chance to say it regular. Is that good?
I'll vote for
Mr. Victor Dove?
yes.
Thank you, sir. We have 6 yes, we have 1 no. The motion passes for calendar 2 for the 21-22 school year.
Thank you, board members.
Thank you.
And I have the next item, Ms. Boomer, as well, the honorary diploma.
That's what I was looking at.
Okay.
Thank you.
So Early College East Principal, Dr. Quinn, recommends the Board of Education approve an honorary diploma, and I apologize if I'm mispronouncing this, for Thu Ong, in accordance with the Craven County Board of Education Policy 3461, honorary high school diploma. This was a student who was attending Early College East, and he started there in fall of 2016 and unfortunately passed away in February of 2018. And according to the policy, this student would meet the requirements because he was making progress toward graduation based on his attendance and credits that he had earned to that point. And so we're making the recommendation to the board to approve an honorary diploma that would be issued to this student because this would be his graduating year with that class.
I need to get a motion to approve that the Board of Education approve an honorary diploma for Thu Ong in accordance with Craven County Board of Education Policy 3461, honorary high school diploma. I think I heard a motion.
Second.
All right, it has been moved and second that we approve the honorary diploma for Thu Ong. And it had been moved and second that we do this. Are you ready for your question? All those in favor of approving this honorary diploma for this young man, let it be known by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, the same. Okay, we have it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Are there any items that need to be moved from the consent agenda? If there are none at this time, I would like to entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
It has been moved and second that the consent agenda be approved. All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same. All right, consent agenda is approved. Superintendent's report?
Yes, I have one item for the board this evening. As I mentioned during my presentation on the budget, and also as the board has participated in information sessions on the long-range facility master plan, we are in need of having a full board meeting to begin to review options that the board can consider to start culling that down and create an adopted plan. I'd like to present some options for afternoon sessions. I hope that will work. And I'm going to give you a couple of those days. If you could pull your calendars out and let me know what might be helpful for you. So option 1, Thursday, the 22nd of April, I'm sorry. Option 2 would be the afternoon of the 27th, which is a Tuesday. And just a reminder that the board's organizational review is on the 28th. And that's a long day, so I would not want to combine it. I know that might be more convenient. And so again, you guys can discuss that, but we consistently get feedback that you guys don't like a lot of stuff on the same day, like that. And this will be too heavy, you know, the long-range plan will be a heavy meeting.
I'm sorry, what were the dates again?
The 27th, the 22nd, and then also
The 28th is the
28th is the organizational review already, or the 4th of May.
I can't do the 27th.
I can't do the 4th of May. The other 2 dates are great.
So does the 22nd work?
Which one did you say you couldn't do, Kim?
27.
I can't do 27th at all. I can try to make the 22nd
Oh,
work. I might have to pop out for an hour block, but I can try to make 22nd.
Well, we want to do it in the afternoon, like,
1 to 3, 1 to 4. Maybe it's afternoon.
it's hard for me, Stephanie and Victor.
what we talking about, facility thing,
Facility.
for all of us together. And so March 4th, Carl can't do.
May
The
4th.
20, May 4th, you can't do. And
How about May 6th?
I can do the 22nd.
what about May 6th? I'm flexible. No, it's not on Wednesday. I'm not giving up my Wednesday.
The 6th would be wonderful.
May 6th?
Yeah, May 6th is
May
better for
6th.
me.
Mr. Ipock, does May 6th work?
No, I'm not here that week. It's already. on.
That's okay. May 11th.
Well, why did you do the 22nd?
Oh, I thought you guys couldn't do the
I
22nd.
think I'm the only one. I said I can make it work. I might have to pop out for an hour, but I can make it.
Okay.
I can make the 22nd.
I'm sorry, the 22nd, then it is. 22nd at 1 o'clock,
I'm fine.
That would be great.
and I'm projecting 1 to 5. But we'll try to get out early.
Okay. All right.
May 20, no, April 22nd. And
April.
Like next week.
next Thursday. And I can send a calendar invitation if that will help to add it to your calendar.
It will.
Okay.
And
I
remind
presume
me.
you do not need your counsel there, correct?
The facility?
No, I don't think at that time. There may be time when you're going to need your attorney,
Right, I don't
but
think
not
so
at that time, I would say.
That time.
This is all just going to be informational and what we agree on and just where we have those separate meetings to come together and put it all, put the puzzle together.
Yeah, and to start narrowing down some options.
Could I broach a question?
Yes, sir.
In that meeting, is it possible that we could be looking at combining schools for the
That-
next school year? Or are we looking
No.
out beyond?
No, yeah, we would be looking at least something that would start the 22nd, 23rd school year. I will say, obviously, with ESSER funds, we may be able to make some of the improvements that you might project in that plan with some of those funds, but there would not be any kind of consolidation that we would propose until the next school year, unless there's something that significantly changes in our situation. All right, that's all I have, Chairman.
Thank you. At this time, I'm going to ask Ms. Smith if she would facilitate a discussion on the board's goal work, and after that, Mr. Alpert has the floor.
Sure, and I'll just go through it real quickly. This is just going to get us in the routine of how we do it. And again, our new board member, Mr. Dove, we'll get him a goal soon. So the first goal to review would be goal 1.2. Board of Education will develop a standardized approach to evaluating the effectiveness of the school board's performance, and that's Mr. IPOC, and he'll lead us through anything. And it's okay to say, I don't have anything, or this is progress. We just want to get in the habit of updating every time.
Right, I don't have anything at this time.
Great, okay. Goal 1.3 is mine, clarify, document, implement consistent process for the board to request information, resolve problems, and process concerns. We did the process concerns on Monday, and the next step on mine will be to process consistent process for requesting information. So we'll begin working on that in May. Goal 1.4, the board will proactively promote, support, and recognize classrooms and schools that are implementing a systems approach to improvement. Ms. Stephanie King will update us on her progress.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I think what we're gonna have this year is, everybody knows that May 3rd to the 7th is Teacher Appreciation Week. And we are excited to be able to celebrate and appreciate all of our educators this year. And a couple of things that we already have planned, and we know that school level principals are probably gonna have some other additional things, but we are planning. I hope everybody can hear me. All you teachers out there, give me a thumbs up, because you're gonna love this first one. From May 3rd through the 7th, I think that's a Monday through a Friday. You get to wear jeans with no holes all week long. Woo-hoo! We're also gonna provide some delicious sweet tea, maybe from Bojangles or Parker's or somewhere. And I think we're gonna have some cookies, so don't eat too many sweets the week before, because on that week, you're gonna be sweeted up to show how sweet you are to us. And those are just a few of the many things that we know are going to be given to you and celebrate it and show our appreciation for all of our wonderful teachers that week of May the 3rd through the 7th.
Right. Thank you. Under goal 1.5, the board will develop a systematic stakeholder listening system that aligns to the district stakeholder listening system, identifies specific stakeholder groups, develops an assessment schedule, and establishes a corresponding timeline and process for incorporating results into the school board improvement planning process. And Mrs. Naomi Clark will update us on progress with her goal.
I don't have anything at this time.
That's correct. That's perfectly great. Goal 1.6, the board will establish, document, and continuously improve process to align all board resources, training, and education to board goals and state school board requirements. And Ms. Kelly Muse will update us on progress with her goal.
Well, Myra is the gatekeeper for our dollars, and so she has been very, very easy to work with whenever I ask to see how much money we're spending on our professional development and our training. So she always has it ready within just a little bit whenever I ask her for it, to make sure that we stay on task and don't overspend.
Great. I think your goal report is in May again, but if you check.
Yeah, because I got skipped because the meeting got canceled, and then
I think so.
this month has been kind of messy.
I think so. So I think May is yours. Thank you very much. Goal 1.7, a process will be developed to request the analysis of the degree of systems implementation at the classroom, school, and district level. And Chairman Francis Boomer.
I don't have anything to report at this time.
Thank you very much. And that is just how quickly we will move through them each month. Just a quick update, and we're going to work on getting you one.
Now, what you were just reading, is this in our PDF or our
It's in your procedures manual. Okay?
And you'll be getting a goal shortly.
Yeah.
Probably mine too.
Yeah.
Listen.
And that completes the goal work, Chairman Boomer.
Thank you. And at this time, we're going to ask Dr. Doyle if she would facilitate our plus and delta. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Ms. Alpert.
Okay.
I said that you were going to do it, and then I skipped right over you.
I
I'm
know
so sorry.
time is of the essence. I was trying to clarify for my memory some questions that have been raised recently. And I went back to the record and researched some of the documents that we have, the superintendent evaluation summary for 18-19, in that to facilitate the work of strategic plan and help accelerate our work towards achieving personalized learning for each student. We have worked with Modern Teacher beginning in March of 2018. So that's the first time I really remember thinking back to when we were having discussions about Modern Teacher. And it is actually in the superintendent's evaluation. Since that time, Craven County has made steady progress in moving to modern personalized learning. And there is a matrix that is used to chart progress. It's called a DCF score that comes from this approach. And that's been accomplished through work with digital convergence, drivers of leadership, instructional models, modern curriculum, digital ecosystems, professional learning, and community. And this is important because that was a stake in the ground that got us moving toward how we were focused on individual learning, but also technology component and getting technology in the hands of the students. I looked to, and then that was mailed out to us, by the way, on June 12th, 2019, at the completion of the evaluation. In the January 2019 board work session, we did also have the presentation on Modern Teacher, and it was part of the organizational review stakeholder update and the timeline for the strategic plan. And it included aligned with digital convergence work, Modern Teacher, to update our instructional and business processes, and establish cross-functional teams for each goal area with digital convergence model, leadership instructional models, modern curriculum, professional learning, and digital ecosystems. All of that are the components that make up Modern Teacher. I know we're going to have a report out on it, and I'm really looking forward to that because I really needed to be reminded exactly how it fit with our strategic plan. And I'm concerned, of course, if I hear it's not being used. I think it is being used, but in ways that people don't actually realize because it's an infrastructure piece. When I went back to March 4th, 2019, the organizational review, there was also a nice discussion about the summer leadership program and the components that were included in that, which included modern curriculum. And if you'll look at, going back to that document, if you look at the diagrams that are provided and everything, they all come right out of the Modern Teacher model. And then finally, the superintendent evaluation summary for 2019-20 includes continued work with our Modern Teacher and how that is integral to the evaluation that we hold Dr. Doyle to that process for evaluation. I offer all of this because I remembered very distinctly knowing that Dr. Doyle was on the advisory council that came out of many of these discussions that we had. I think it was referenced more than one time. And it was at the encouragement of the board, even back to when we hired Dr. Doyle, that we told her we wanted her to be involved in as much locally, chamber-wide, things of that nature that give, help give our new superintendent roots in our community, and also at the education level at state. Any kind of opportunity to participate and have our voice heard. And that's what the advisory council is. If you just go online and look at who the people are that are on the advisory council, you find out it's superintendents from all over the country. But North Carolina has three. I know all three. One of them is Dr. Doyle. And then Rock Hill, South Carolina, the superintendent there is also. So we've got four kind of right inside of our sphere. And I just wanted to make sure that in my thinking, I clarified that for the record and also for Victor, because, coming new and receiving information, he might not know how far back some of this goes. And so now we know that. There has been something suggested that I in some way am tied into modern teacher, and I really thank whoever might have that misconception for the honor of it, but those are superintendents. They're not school board people. I am involved in some school board, advisory councils, but have not been nor have any kind of presence on any board of directors related to a for-profit for education, period, any kind. I am, and I always like to say to you, just for full disclosure, because I realize that seems to be an issue that we want to be transparent about. I'm on the North Carolina School Board Trust as a trustee. That organization, at recommendation from all the agents that work at the School Board Association under the trust, sets the rates for insurance for school systems across the state. So there is a connection. However, all the trustee members have to be participating members on school boards that that use the services of the School Board Trust. And then finally, of course, I'm on the School Board Association Board of Directors, they provide the education for us, they provide legal counsel, so many different things. And I'm there as a past president of the organization. And because of that, I will be there as long as I'm in office. I'll be on that board unless something really unusual were to happen that would cause me to be kicked off. I can't imagine what that would be. But in each of these cases, I just parallel it with what we've asked Dr. Doyle to do and what probably each of us do in our professional roles, where we're involved in things so that we can actually have a stake in and direct the activities, bring forward the issues that we're seeing, for having hands-on, what it is that we want for the product, how it's to serve us, not how it's to serve a for-profit mechanism external to us. And so I just wanted a chance to set that record straight in my mind and also help each of you remember that.
Thank you so much for sharing that and for refreshing our memory about it. And like we have asked, it will be on the agenda for the next board work session. And I'm sure that those people who are involved will give us some more information to go along with that. And like you said, it may be being used and not knowing that it's being used. So everybody needs to understand how it's being used. It seems like it must be, but they don't know that it's being. So it need to be identified as to how it's being used. Mm-hmm. So we appreciate you going back to that and to be honest, that little paper that you showed, I don't know where it is. Mm-hmm. I don't know, you know where yours is, Ms. King? So, but thank you. So you can make us a copy of that, what you have. It would be great for us to, all of us, get us a copy of it, and that would be great. Well, thank you for sharing that information.
Thanks, Carr.
Okay. All right.
I was trying to follow Kelly.
And we have one bin item. Do anybody have a bin item?
I do. I have a bin item.
Okay, hold on.
Sorry, Mr. Dove is asking Ms. Hardy if she wanted to say anything about the use of modern teacher or, because since she's a teacher.
And not only,
she may not.
Well, we want to do it next month, though.
And not only that, even you don't have anything to say about that, either one of you, and I apologize again for not inviting you to put your input into anything that we have said tonight. If there anything that you all would like to add to anything that we've said tonight, please feel free to do so. Ms. Clark constantly reminds me, but she only reminded me one time.
I think we're gonna put them on the agenda though, right?
Yeah. We're gonna put on the agenda so that we will know that y'all are with us. But we appreciate any input that you have at this point.
Well, absolutely. I am listening and learning and, trying my best to, hear all of the different perspectives. But as far as modern teacher, I would like to I know that I had training this year. And I know that the training that I received, if I'm not mistaken, I'm sort of on the spot right now, but I've been trying to recall and put names to trainings. And the training that I received was early in the year, if I'm not mistaken, and please forgive me if I've got this mixed up with another training, but it was blended learning, and that's as far as I'm comfortable to talk about it tonight without worrying that I'm making a mistake. So I am very interested and have listened intently to, but I've not talked to anybody on my staff or, worked with it about their perceptions of it, if that's what you're asking me.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Patrick, you have anything you'd like to add?
Hi there, and I apologize. I had some technical difficulties and I was here, but you all couldn't see me. We have, I think, had a couple of trainings with Modern Teacher, actually, I think dating back maybe around 2018. Only reason why I remember that is because it was my birthday. And I do remember we did have a summer leadership where we did some training. And then we did at the kickoff of this school year, we did have a training with Modern Teacher about blended learning.
That's what.
So I think that's kind of the extent to the trainings that we've had. And kind of like Ms. Hardy said, kind of on the spot, that is what I recall. We did have a couple of discussions. I think the digital convergence and then Modern Teacher at some summer leaderships. And then our staff had training with blended learning through Modern Teacher at the beginning of the year. And I think there were also some modules that were utilized this summer for summer school. Kind of like the structure for summer school went through Modern Teacher.
Okay, thank you for sharing that. And like I said, we'll get even more information, and you all at that time, you probably have some more to add to it. And we appreciate that, but we will get some more information at the next board meeting. And we thank you for doing that. Okay? Is there anything else that we need? Any more being item? Okay, I'm sorry, what's up?
Not only is April the month of the military child, it is also Autism Month as well.
Okay.
So for all of our extraordinary children that we serve in Craven County Schools, they should be recognized this month too.
Okay.
What was it called?
I don't know if I have a list with you. So y'all, what are you asking? What do we call it? The month of the.
I don't
I was
think
trying to
that,
remember what they called it.
I think it
I think it's yellow. Isn't
It
it?
used to be blue, but now it's red.
It's red.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for bringing that to our attention, Ms. Lee. We need to know that. All right, anybody else? Ms. King, do you have a being item?
I did. I think it's still happening.
Mr. Doug?
That's all I want to hear that.
Okay.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay, thank you.
And we'll make sure that they'll probably you'll have more
We can add that.
in the next month.
You have one?
My bid item, I have two things that I want to, for those of you who have the pleasure of listening to the however many hours long hearing of the county commissioners, there were two things that were put out that were really the misinformation that I really think we should put in the record and address. The first being some misinformation on the instructional timeline. So I'm going to let Dr. Doyle kind of clarify that. Let's get it in the record and get it out for the public on that.
So the Board of Education, as you remember, decided to begin the school year, the first 9 weeks in remote learning. So all students began grades pre-K through 13, because we have grade 13 in early colleges, although those students were attending the community college, started in remote until October 19th, when all schools returned to Plan B, which was kind of our hybrid learning, where elementary students, well, actually, first of all, kindergarten students were coming 4 days a week. Our students who were significantly cognitively disabled, they were coming 4 days a week. And then our elementary students were coming 2 days a week, and middle and high school students were coming 1 to 2 days a week. And as you remember, as a board, that number was being worked on continuously from October 19th until the holidays as middle and high schools were trying to bring more students back more days. We originally had planned to return back to 4 days a week for elementary grades K through 5 as soon as we came back from the Christmas holidays. But you all remember that we had quite the surge after Thanksgiving, and we took a 2-week pause and had remote learning for the 2 weeks immediately following the Christmas break. On January 19th, we in-person instruction for all students, Plan A for our elementary students, 4 days a week, and Plan B for our middle and high school students, up to 2 days a week. And some students were coming back 4 days a week, especially our cognitively disabled students. On today, April 15th, we transitioned all of our middle and high school students back to 4 days a week instruction. And so I think and I did not hear the full hearing, but the inaccuracy was that we had not returned students to school at certain points. And so we wanted to make sure that we corrected that record and that we have been working very hard to get students back in person pursuant to the governor's orders throughout the time period of the school year.
With our issue, I think there's like maximum ability to do that, and ours was limited by our facility. I mean, to be able to enforce those things, we could not do it at the level of some other systems. So there was this misconception that we were choosing not to fill. It was a very misleading but lack of information statement. The other one was a statement that was made as justification really for moving us to a partisan board. You get unintentionally clouded the whole board because a lot of people don't realize that we're staggered. So it sounded like the whole board had run in the election, and I got many calls the next day, which is a misunderstanding. They had exception to a flyer, a candidate's flyer that had nothing to do with the full board. So I wanted to clarify that, and I'm going to put in a minute the flyer itself in case it comes up again, since it's come up multiple times since then. And the date that I found out of it, which was after the election, the board should not be, the whole entire board should not be tainted and portrayed in the light that we were unintentionally that night based on one candidate and one campaign flyer. So I just want to put that out there. I don't think he did it intentionally. I think a lot of boards are elected all at one time. And so I don't think he intended to paint us all that way, but it did have that consequence clearly by the way my phone rang the next day. So I do think that's important to put in the record for us. And then the last thing on that same hearing is to really thank the people who came out and told beautiful stories about our system and our teachers and the support that they had not only from the board, but from the teachers in the classroom and the schools themselves. And I didn't know any of them, I don't think, that spoke. And so it was a beautiful thing to see people feeling that passionately to be able to stand up, because it was a difficult thing. It was kind of a tough, thick environment in there. So it was really, I just really want to thank those people who took the time to do that night and share that, because they didn't have to do that. They could have stayed home.
Including Mr. Doyle.
He did speak on behalf of the board. I did what I could in my powerful 3 minutes.
You did a great job. You did a great job. I have, what am I saying? I had heartburn she didn't get to finish.
But it's okay.
But she did a great job. That's it. That's not my bad item.
Okay, anyone else? Okay. I started to say all hearts and minds are clear. I switched to church, but at this time, we're going to ask Dr. Doyle if she will conduct a plus delta evaluation for us, please.
Chairman, I think you need to do celebration.
Do we have to?
Yes, ma'am. Well, actually, you know what? I'm going to start, if you don't mind.
I wish you would, because I have to think about it.
It's pretty lengthy, actually. But I'm not going to keep you here very long. But I do want to share, today I had the opportunity to spend my time in 2 schools, Bridgeton Elementary School and Vanceboro Farm Life. We were there because we have a couple of our learning systems coaches who are being trained to be trainers of our classroom learning systems training. And so we were there we requested to both the Bridgeton principal and the Farm Life principal that we be in their school and honoring the fact that, teachers are a little bit stressed getting ready for exams and preparing for their reviews and that type of thing. If we could come into these classrooms to see what they're doing, not so that we could give them coaching or anything like that, or even feedback, but so that we could learn from them. I was so encouraged today by the work that's being done in these classrooms. And I want to say these teachers' names. Miss Winters, who is a 4th grade teacher at Bridgeton Elementary School. Miss Dunham, who is a student at West Craven High School and remembers learning using PDSA in her career and technical education class when she was at West Craven High School, and that this has made very much sense to her as she implements it in her classroom herself. Ms. Strasser, who just did a phenomenal job talking about what's really happening with mathematics in her classroom and how her students are truly contributing to their own learning and getting really excited about the opportunity to give their teacher input about the strategies that are working best for them to learn math at the highest level. Miss Green, a kindergarten teacher, and I want to say that of the folks that I've listed so far, half of them are Craven Live teachers. One of the teachers, and I cannot remember which one because I started to take notes a little bit late, but one of them is a teacher at Bridgeton, but was also teaching students at Creekside Elementary School, had 6 students from Creekside there. One of those students was so attached to this teacher from Bridgeton that they moved out of the district of Creekside Elementary School to go to Bridgeton to continue to have this teacher once Craven Live switched a bit, which I thought was an amazing testament to her work. And for that teacher, I don't know which teacher it was, but Miss Winter. As I said, Miss Green, a kindergarten teacher. Can you imagine teaching kindergarten students right from the beginning? We had kindergarten teachers who were teaching Craven Live. We're doing a phenomenal job. Miss Sajo, who also was doing an amazing job. And she was a student who also learned with PDSA in her classroom at Arthur Edwards when she was in 3rd grade. And as soon as she received the training, also really saw the connection to what she had learned as a student. Then at Vanceboro Farm Life, we had Miss Mayline Outlaw, who is just an amazing woman. She really, really is just salt of the earth, salt of the earth. And she told us, she said, I will never teach any differently again, ever again. I see the power of this. And when you walked in her class, you knew she had things going together because those kids, there's about 6 adults in there talking to their teacher, and the kids were all focused on their work while we were learning from their teacher. Miss Heather Berkey, who I have to just really lift up, especially because she was a 3rd grade teacher. She showed us how all of her math learning results are just really improving by leaps and bounds. And she gave us really a clinic on what's going positively with classroom learning systems in her classroom. Well, we left her classroom and we went out to debrief and to learn about what we needed to see in that classroom. And someone mentioned just off the cuff that she was a 1st-year teacher. But let me go a little further. She was influenced by you all. She was one of our parent advisors several years ago, and this board told her that she needed to become a teacher because she had children in our system. She has become a teacher. She's a 1st-year teacher at Farm Life, and she is an amazing teacher. I went back into that classroom when her kids came back, and so I wanted to celebrate them and said, you ladies and gentlemen just did a great job making your teacher look so great today. And they all, almost every one of them pointed to the wall and said, did you see our results? They were so proud of themselves, so proud of themselves. I was just over the moon. So 3rd grade class, really doing great things. Miss Brittany Clark, a 4th grade teacher at Vanceboro Farm Life, and Miss Rachel Racuzzo, who is 4th grade teaching Craven Live. These teachers are in some ways pioneers, but also in some ways returning back to what they know works best for children because they were learners in this system before. And I just really appreciate them allowing us to learn from them today and celebrate them for the great work that they've done this school year and for their students.
Right. What's up with?
Me? I'll do it.
All right.
So when I saw my daughter today, she was happy. And she was also shell shocked because she has not been around so many kids at one time. You're nodding. Did you get kind of the same kind of stuff? And how good it was and how happy their teachers were and how they are so ready for things to be normal. And she said everybody was in a good mood at school today and that Mama, it was just a good day.
Right. It is good celebration.
Let's go around.
Once again, this is gonna be my theme today, I guess. Can the teachers tell us how school was for them? I just want to hear how excited they were, the children.
Oh, I saw Miss Gail's Facebook. She was very excited.
Ms. Hardy?
Ms. Hardy, Ms. Patrick. How was school today for you all?
Today was amazing. It was, I put a post on Facebook. I couldn't get over the joy and the things that we've missed and students' voices, them, and everyone worked really hard to follow the rules. There was this sense of taking care of each other, but so excited to be back together. And the laughter and the stories and I missed yous and we were meeting some students for the first time and we've face to face. And there was some nerves and all of that, but the kids wanted to take care of each other. I just think it was just such an appreciation. And we all just had this, I can speak for myself, my hall, the folks I saw, the kids, just the teachers walking on air today. Boy, it was a fabulous day.
Keep posting on Facebook because every time you do that, it encourages somebody to go into education. Every time you see how much somebody loves it and the joy that you get from today, that's somebody who thinks maybe I could do that. So keep doing that.
Dr. Patrick?
Okay, well, I always say every day is a great day to be an owl. So we also had a great day. Our students have been back, but the transition of the middle schools and high schools is also impacting us in that we are actually starting to enroll kids. I think we had 3 new students today, so that was exciting. I think the highlight of our day, we had a Zoom session from Africa, from Mali. We had a South African or an African dance presentation. It was made extra special because we were able to get all of our 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders together on Zoom, including our kids that are on Craven Live. And, you know, we haven't been able to get our kids together in assemblies as we traditionally would have. So today was, you know, a nice, fun day to have some time learning with our kids, but especially to have our Craven Live kids with their peers as in a whole group. And it was a lot of fun. At the end of the day, I always ask the kids, what was your favorite part of the day and what did you learn? And the dance session today was many of their favorites. So that was a lot of fun for us. And I think Dr. Diggs is in there. She helped us get it set up. So thank you, Dr. Diggs. It was a lot of fun.
Did she dance as well?
That's a good question.
She did. It was one of those things where you couldn't stay in your seat. It was a lot of fun and a lot of participation.
Right. And one else, Miss.
Well, my celebration, can I go next? Because I want to follow Dr. Patrick simply because my celebration is kind of like oxymoronish, I guess. Because my daughter, who is the creative dramatics teacher at Oaks Road Academy, was upset because she could not go to school today. She could not go to school today because her baby, my baby, wasn't feeling well. So she had to take him to the doctor, had a stomach bug. And so when I was coming home and I called her to see how he was doing, she was upset. And I said, what's wrong? I thought something was wrong. And she was upset at the fact that she couldn't be at school today. And that brought tears to my eyes because I fought with her about, this is the best profession to be in. This is just wonderful. And she's like, I don't think this is for me. I don't think I can do this. And to hear her be upset at the fact that she missed her students today brought tears to my eyes. So I want to celebrate. And it has a lot to do with my second celebration, which is I want us to celebrate principals. This has been a hard year for a lot of people, but especially administrators. Why? Because they're in the middle having to take from all different sides. They hear it from the teachers, they hear it from superintendents, they hear it from central services, they hear it from us, they hear it from the parents, and a lot of things, a lot of students, what principals are having to do is they are protecting their teachers, and they're taking the heat for a lot of things that their teachers, they're trying to protect, that's the word I want to use. They have protected their teachers more this year than I've ever seen. And I want to applaud and congratulate and just appreciate our principals this year, because you ladies and gentlemen have done a awesome, sometimes unappreciated job. So I celebrate all of our principals this year.
Well, I will accept that for all, on behalf of all the principals. Everyone has worked hard to work together, but I will definitely make sure I pass that along to our principal group. Thank you.
Ms. Clark? I'll pass it. Okay. Mr. Upper?
I'm just celebrating today. We finally got here.
Amen.
What a wonderful day it is.
I want to celebrate AWE. I want to celebrate AWE because we haven't been in school, so we haven't been able to do fun stuff. They had their one book, one school kickoff today, and they had the sheriff department out there delivering the books, and the kids were so excited. It was just so nice to see. And they had to send out an alert to let the community know they weren't, because all the sirens were going off, that there wasn't any problem at the school. But it was wonderful to see the kids, and even the Craven Live kids were participating in it. It was absolutely beautiful. And I know the teachers were excited, and I know the staff was excited, because I was excited just to be in a school building, hearing laughter and seeing kids. So that's a huge celebration. They did a great job with it. And thank you to Newbern High School for our our treats.
I'm ready to try.
Our culinary teacher.
Oh, wonderful. Vic, did you have anything? Okay. I celebrate everything that all of you have said. I mean, I really do. The principles of what Dr. Dorr said about the teachers, and it speaks a lot about the teachers from not only from Farm Life, but these are the ones that we talked about tonight who had got their education in the Craven County school system. And as a matter of fact, I had the honor of teaching one of them myself. And so it might have been some more, but I know Mayline Raspberry was one of mine back in the day. But I just appreciate that. And this, and I'm going to say it. I celebrate my grandson, my 10-year-old at J.W. Smith, and came home the other day, is excited and say, I am officially an AIG student. And I celebrate that too, because he lost y'all know he did lose his father December 23rd, and his birthday was the next day, December 24th. And he had, to me, I'm very proud of the fact that he has done well this year. He has done really well with he was going to school in Kinston. So he had to change school and come to at J.W. Smith. But it just showed the caring, the type of teachers that we have in Craven County. And I'm sure that what happened to him would happen to any other child in other schools in Craven County. But those teachers and the Ms. Thomas, they really made the transition very easy. And I had asked him the other day, did you want to finish out the year with virtual learning? And I had talked to Dr. Doyle about it. And when we realized you might have to change teachers, he heard the conversation. He told me, I do not want to change because I like my teachers and I don't want the risk not getting my same teachers back. And so, and I think that speaks volume for the teachers, that he feels comfortable with them and he wants to stay. But that's the same story that a lot of folks could tell, because those are the kind of teachers that we do have in Craven County. And we appreciate all that they're doing. And we are just praying that next year will be even better for them. The pandemic will not be an obstacle, and that we'll be able to start the new year out fresh at the beginning, day one, everybody will be able to go back and all the days will be as exciting as they were today for them. So we're just praying that that would happen. And that's my celebration.
Does Myra want to play?
Yes, Myra always help us out here. A lot of work. And we would like to celebrate Mr. Russell. He has worked hard with that facility plan, and his presentation was very clear. Very clear. He outlined everything for us, and so we do celebrate. Well, Dr. Doyle was work along with him as well, so but we do celebrate that great work that was done. Any more celebrations? Having none, we're going to ask Dr. Doyle if she would give us our plus delta evaluation of our board meeting.
As the board considers its mission, what works tonight in furtherance of the board's mission for Craven County Schools?
We stayed on task.
I appreciated Mr. Doug giving us a view through his eyes and experience.
I celebrate we all kept our mask on tonight.
Yes.
It was hard, but we did. I celebrate that. I celebrate those people in the back there who have been here since 7:30 or 8 o'clock this morning, and they do that at every board meeting. I celebrate their faithfulness, and I think that it's a plus for us that they are willing to do this, and we appreciate it. Yes, in the room with us. So we are, that's a plus.
I wish I had your discipline. I'm sitting directly in front of you. You had your hands in that heart shape. Like this the entire time. I'm fidgeting, moving left and right, and you have not moved 1 inch. So I celebrate you and your discipline. I was looking to see when you were awake.
Any more plus?
A plus for me is our continually having our staff recognition. It shows that we're still growing. We're growing. We're progressing.
Educators in the night.
Oh, yeah.
I like to hear them talk.
I do too, their input.
They won't look like ornaments.
Well, and in case you didn't hear it, they're going to add it to the
I heard
Ms.
you.
Gaines'
Yeah, I heard
recommendation to
you.
add it, so we don't forget them.
So I do forget to recognize them. It's
I
so
have
quiet, I
one.
don't see them.
I want to thank and recognize Mrs. Flowers for always being there to grab what it is you need, what it is you forgot, to make sure we are ready to go. Thank you for that.
We just, yes. Anyone else? Those are good plus in the deltas tonight. If you have any deltas. Right.
What could have been better?
It was hard. It was, I don't know how else to do it because, we get the work session, but it was, I don't want to say difficult, but hearing the presentation again, repeated again, I wonder if there's a more efficient way to do that, where we don't have to, you know what I mean? Where we don't
Repeat
have
it
to
again.
hear the whole thing again. I mean,
It wasn't that exciting?
it might have been, if,
It's okay.
you know what I'm saying? I think you know what I'm trying to say.
Both Ms. Altman and me said, we don't really want to do this again.
Right.
Yeah,
And of course, that's for the purpose of the public hearing.
right.
You have to.
So there may not be.
So you had to really, you was
That's
not,
something we can look at in terms of our process for next year.
right, so.
Anything else? All right, I'm gonna say the pluses, but I want to make sure I captured exactly what you said about Mr. Dove's comments, because I think they were important. We stayed on task. And I said the next part was appreciated Mr. Dove educating us this evening about how he sees things, but I don't know that that's accurate. And so I want to make sure that I've captured what Mr. IPOC said there, because I think it's how we should all be seeing things and be mindful of
Like
what
you
we're
saw.
putting in front of our students and in front of our community about our children and our staff.
Right. It becomes necessary for us to share in a way that each of us can see through the other's eyes and experience. And I think he captured that very eloquently this evening.
And I will say, I love the way he did it, because he didn't do it while we were broadcasting live in a way that was, it really embarrassed that full family and maybe hurt their feelings without having spoken to them first. So I really love the way that you did that sort of off the record where all the leadership team could hear it,
But to add to that, thank you for your comment, Mr. IPOC, but I guess I hope we all aspire for it not to be my eyes that we're seeing this through. It should be all of our eyes. It should be seen automatically by everybody, not just someone who may have experience. Because when things are obvious and when it's not right, it just shouldn't be done.
Yes, sir. And I have some things I want you to see through my eyes.
Yeah, go both ways. Okay. Very good.
Celebrate the staff in the back, our cabinet. Everyone kept their mask on, Mr. Lee's discipline. Our continually having our staff recognitions, the engagement of our educators this evening, recognize Ms. Flowers, who is always there to take care of the board. And then it was hard to hear the budget presentation again as the Delta.
Oh.
That's all I have.
What was the last one?
it wasn't really
Oh.
hard to sit there, but if there was a more efficient way to do it, I was thinking.
We all thought it, we just didn't say it, but I don't know another way of doing it in order to share with the public.
We got a lot of smart people in this room.
It's just not exciting.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Yeah, but I'm thinking,
But you had to be here to hear
we
it.
got a lot of smart people in here. I bet we can figure out how to make it better next year.
Take my plan.
Madam Chair, are we approaching the end of this meeting?
We ended this meeting. I just want to make sure I've been ending everything so quickly tonight. I didn't want to end this meeting. Didn't want anybody to think I was anxious to go home. May I get a motion to?
I would like to offer that motion that we adjourn.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that this meeting is adjourned. We are free to go home.
That would be nice if I'd not had anything to eat all day.